Welcome, Crackers and Milk. You have joined us for Shooting the Breeze with Mike and Dave.
Shooting the breeze.
So we're just hanging out talking about The Office, first season, episode 6 now, which is called The Hot Girl. Michael is just one of the many male staff who start vying for the attention of an attractive saleswoman in the office, who is Amy Adams at this point. She is pretty cute in this one. But like I've said in a past episode of Enchanted, which you will hear before this, is at this time she was cute, but when she got to Enchanted, she went weird.
Weird. Whatever.
But whatever.
I just want to say the best line for me in this that sets up this whole episode perfectly. So yeah, we've got Amy Adams, Katie coming into the office to sell purses. Redhead.
Pam lit redhead a little too.
Yep. And Pam says, "It's nice having Katie around. It's another person for Michael to interact with." And that's what it is. This whole episode is him trying to impress Katie because he just thinks she's beautiful. And yeah, really, it is. I've got a documentary crew following me. I'm the boss. You should like me.
Yeah. And one of the things he says, like, after he's introduced to Katie, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go talk to her," because he sees how attractive she is. He says something like, "Oh, you're Pam 6.0," and you're just like,
right in front of Pam.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you are rude.
You are so rude.
I understand. And then one of the things is when he says, like, something with cocks in the hen house or something like
Cocks
that.
in the hen house.
And then, like...
Because he says cock in the hen house, and Dwight says cocks in the hen house.
And then he's like, don't say cocks. And then one of my favorite lines, too, is Michael. He's in his office, and he's subscribed to a couple things, but one of them is in the Airline magazine. He's like, there's an article about Doris Roberts in this magazine of what she likes to eat in Phoenix. Illuminating. You're just like, what? I actually thought he's like, well, whenever I go to Phoenix, I'm going to go to these places. But when he says illuminating, it's like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh, Michael. Michael and his odd way of trying to impress.
Oh, yeah. And, like, he gets so awkward with Katie.
Yes.
So awkward.
The first interaction after she's kind of in the office, he's allowed her to set up in the conference room, and he goes in there, and he's just, like, trying to initiate a conversation. Like, oh, what can I do for you? Like, is there anything I can do for you? What can I do? Like, oh, just leave her alone. Let her set up. This is awful. I can't handle this.
And that's like, sometimes when, I remember one time I was sitting there, and I was at a fireside, or I was getting ready for a fireside, and I'm sitting there, and this girl, like, I sat behind this girl, this was like in my 20s, sat behind this girl, and I started talking to her, and this kid comes up, and he's like, hey, is it okay if I give you a massage? To the girl.
What?
And I was like, ugh.
Oh.
Are you serious, man? Like, you don't do that.
That's weird.
Whatever. Like, and that's all I thought. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so, like, we've had those moments when you overhear somebody. You're like, oh, don't try. Like, one of my favorites, too, is with Dwight. When he goes and asks Katie, and Angela's in there. Oh, my gosh. And she's like, no. Well, no to talking in private or no to the date? Both.
Both, yep.
And he's like, oh.
Oh.
And then Angela's sitting there just being, like, just quiet. Just that quietness to allow that awkwardness to soak in all of us. Ugh. It's just...
It's awkward.
So awkward. But we've been in those. Like, even in our own conversations in life, we've had the awkward silences. I remember my brother-in-law, before he married my sister, or even before he proposed, they were dating, and then all of us brothers got together and he came. This is before he's in the family. And we were sitting at dinner. And I just said something like, well, hey, in front of everybody, when everything got quiet, hey, who's holding it up? You or my sister? Everybody just went quiet. And so it was like, yeah, I've done that a lot. I've done that a lot. You know, where it's just like really awkward.
Yeah.
And like, we've all been a part of those conversations where it's really awkward. I know I shouldn't admit it, but man, dude, just awkward.
Yep, it's okay.
Just awkward.
Yeah, I got tons of awkward stories too.
And then when Dwight talks about Katie and how she checks off all the right things.
Right.
And he's like, Schrutes produce very thirsty babies. Sorry, he's referencing Katie's chest.
Yeah.
He says that, and you're just like, because he says, well, not for me, for my babies.
Right. That reminds me then of the episode when they go to that bar. That game bar.
Oh, the gay bar?
No, the gaming bar where Michael plays pool with that. He doesn't know he's on a date with that girl. Mm-hmm. But then they cut to Dwight, and Dwight's talking about the pros and cons of Angela and Isabel.
Yeah,
and Isabel, good childbearing age.
Yeah.
Isabel, childbearing hips. Just. And then he's like, he's talking to Angela, I want to have a big family. And she's like, oh, I'll give you all the kids you want. No, not big, like big family. And you're not going to cut it, Isabel will cut it. So, yeah, that's what's great is Dwight was like that. He's always thinking about, who can I marry? Mm-hmm. Who's going to bring a Dwight kid into the world? And, oh, dang it, Dwight. And going, okay, so back to Michael and his awkwardness. I like when he's going to introduce everyone, right? Yeah. He's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to introduce Katie to everyone. And he's taking her out. And the best one is he gets to Toby. Oh. And Toby sees her class ring. Yeah. And she went to Bishop High or whatever. And I went there too. That's where I went. And Michael's got to put a stop to this. Yeah. They cannot. No. Uh-huh. And in their conversation, it's so awkward. Did you know Toby's divorced? It's like, what? Michael, shut up.
He has a kid.
He has a kid. And he slept in his car once. Isn't that right, Toby? And Toby's like, it's like, why? Who are you? And then Katie walks away, and Michael is still standing there and says, oh, is that a picture of your little girl? Like,
cute.
Oh, what just happened? This is awful.
Oh, dude, so funny.
Oh, he's also trying to. So he's getting along with he's talking to Katie. He's always with her. She gets this text that says somebody can't pick her up, and he's like, "Oh, I can pick you up," and she immediate no, like no, I don't want you to take me home. And, and he's like, no, it's no problem. No. He's just pushing that. She's like, finally, okay, you can take me home. And then he tells Dwight, who's in love with her, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking her home. And I love, because she asked me to take her home.
Yeah.
Well, no, she didn't ask you to. This whole story has changed. And Dwight's so worried. Well, Michael, like, I like her, and what are you going to do? Are you just going to take her home? Well, other things could happen.
Maybe go take home, grab some
coffee. Yep.
I don't know.
Dot is so funny. I love it because Dwight is just like, no, don't do this to me.
And then I love how Jim tricks Dwight into getting a purse.
Oh, so good. Because it's in a European handbag thing, right?
And then he goes, do you read GQ? No,
yeah,
I don't.
no, don't.
They're like mini briefcases. And then he's like, okay, we're going to go in there. And then I do love their whole thing and like how they go, like one of the lines, a couple of the lines that Jim says was, give it a good workout, stress test it. It's the prettiest one of all. I'm going to be the prettiest one at the ball.
Yep.
It's so funny.
Because Dwight is trying these purses on, and he's
hitting
them and testing their strength, you know, and I love how Pam's like acting as Katie, saying, "Oh yes, do that. Oh, that's just so great." You know, this reminds. We'll fast forward to another episode with Dwight testing the stroller for Jen.
Oh,
I love that.
Yes.
If something was worth $1,500, and he's like, "I built my bomb shelter for less than that." Dwight in construction. He's got to make sure it's worth the money.
And then I do love one of my Dwight, or no, Pam, where Mike goes, Pam, what do girls your age think of futons?
And then Pam talks to Jim about it and says, did he really say that? Yeah, a futon. What? Why does Michael have a futon in his house?
And then when Ryan helps him clean out the car.
I love that.
Okay, and then they throw away the little thing, and Mike goes, he's like, no, give me that.
There's
he's
still
like,
more in it.
There's nothing in there. Oh, there's more in the straw.
Yeah, he's rubbing the cologne on him.
And then, like, the fish fillets. How many fillets of fish did you eat? It's over several months, Ryan.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I get it, but it's still a lot. Like, you're just like, holy cow.
And then, do I get rid of, can I get rid of this blue one?
Yeah.
And he's like,
it's not a flavor.
It's blue blast. Oh, can I get rid of blue? What? Blue blast. Oh, blue blast.
Yeah, put it in my trunk. He throws away water, and then he's like, hey, there's one of Arctic something. Make sure it's in the cup holder.
In the cup holder.
Hey, baby. And then, okay, so one thing, too, is Jim goes into Katie, starts talking to her. Like, you know, starts flirting, picking her up, which is great. Like, you could see the salesman in him, but also he's a genuine guy. I can understand why she would want to go out on a date with him if she chose to go out on a date with him. Right. And then the next thing you see is Pam
looking in,
and then trying to spruce herself up.
Yeah.
Like with some lip stuff, lip gloss, or whatever. Yeah. And you're just like, oh wow. But then also earlier in the episode, Jim, Pam, and Roy are sitting there at the table. They see Katie. And Roy's like,
I'd hit that if I wasn't dating Pam.
Yeah. And she's like, we're engaged.
We're not dating, we're engaged.
And then she just gets up and leaves. But before that, one of my favorite parts to that is Roy asks type of women Jim's into. He's like, moms. Mostly moms. And all this stuff. And then Kevin's like, not my mom. Too like Kevin. But then you also see Pam trying to, like, she goes and visits Jim at his desk and talks to him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm going to go out with Katie. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Tells her a little, and then he goes back to work, and she's like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Pam likes him too.
Yep.
It's not just Jim liking her.
Yep.
It's Pam liking him too.
That's when everybody realizes. I think you kind of get it with that. You're like, oh, God.
Well, like, you see a lot of Jim liking her.
Yep.
Like, you know, when he loses that 25% sale.
Yep.
she puts her head on his shoulder.
That's right.
And then he says, at the end, he's like, it was a good day.
It was a good
and it was
day.
like, what do you mean? That was a terrible day for you, money-wise. But he still thinks it's a good day because he got a head. The head on the shoulder. It's like, yeah, I get that.
By the way, that is wonderful.
That is,
the girl that you
nice.
like puts her head on your shoulder. This is heaven.
Yeah. No, so much. It's like, oh, that's nice. That's nice.
That is nice.
So yeah, like you see that, and it kicks off the rooting for Jim and Pam for the next few seasons.
Yep, it does.
Very much so. Okay, thank you for joining us.
Like us.
Comment,
rate.
Yes. So please subscribe to us on YouTube.
Leave a comment.
Yes, please. We are enjoying this, but we're doing it more. So thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.